Good evening and welcome. I'm thrilled to welcome everyone tonight. My name is Xiangjin Wei. I'm an NT1 professor of Chinese business economy at the Columbia Business School and also director of the Chasing Institute's China Business Initiative. This evening is a very special occasion for us as we celebrate the 35th program of the Sir Gordon Wu Distinguished Speaker Series hosted by Chasing Institute. For those of you, for the 3% in the room who may not know, Chasing Institute is the hub of global business, everything global at Columbia Business School. Tonight's event is particularly meaningful as we are merging two flagship programs focusing on China, the Sir Gordon Wu Distinguished Speaker Program and Lulu C Asian Business Leadership Program. Both initiatives aim to connect business leadership in China with our campus, with our students and faculty, fostering meaningful dialogue and deepening our understanding of China and the world economy. We are incredibly honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Lihong Wang, class of '99, Lihong. Let me introduce our moderator and distinguished speaker. So first, our proud moderator, Lulu Wang, is one of the world's most influential women in the financial world and philanthropy. Lulu has been a pioneer on Wall Street throughout her distinguished career. She's a staunch advocate of investing in women and women's education and a model mentor. All of this is underscored by Lulu's public service, long support of institutions and causes that are deeply meaningful to her. Most importantly, Lulu's generosity of heart, time, and energy to building communities like this one has fostered intellectual understanding and exchange. Lulu is the CEO and chair of Tupero Capital Management, which she founded in 1998. Lulu has served on the boards of Metropolitan Museum of Art, my son's favorite museum in the world, Rockefeller University, the Asia Society, Columbia Business School, and the Chasing Institute's Global Advisory Board. Lulu earned her BA in English Literature from Wesley College and MBA from Columbia Business School, honorary doctorate from Rockefeller University. Welcome, Lulu. Our speaker, Lihong Wang, is a distinguished investor and business leader overseeing many prominent, well-known companies in China. She's currently the chair and CEO of Rise Education, a leading after-school English tutoring provider with over 350 centers nationwide. She's she took on the role of leading Gymboree Play and Music in 2023 to facilitate its recovery from COVID. Additionally, Lihong is an investor and chair of Subway China, the sandwich chain, not the underground metro, and WWP Beauty, a top cosmetic packaging firm. And Lihong also is a director at Domino Pizza China. These are recent things that she's doing, but Lihong has over 20 years of experience in the financial sectors across Asia and US. Most notably, for many, many years, Lihong is the managing director at Bain Capital Asia, following 1 or 2 years at Morgan Stanley. So Lihong earned her MBA from Columbia Business School and BA from Fudan University. She's a member of our school's board of directors. That's the right name? Lihong come all the way from Hong Kong, and together with her husband, Zhihong Li, class of '99, and their children, Lihong has established 2 scholarships, one at Fudan University and one at our school. Lihong has been an insightful speaker at my class. I'm very grateful to her. Anytime I ask her for help, she obliges and she gives me wonderful suggestions for additional speakers. Last year, I had a privilege of working with Lihong to develop Columbia Business School's faculty study trip to China. We visited many companies. Lihong has invested or helped to develop. And I'm very grateful to Lihong's many contributions to our school. Without further ado, let me invite our moderator and speaker to the forum. I'm going to take the time to.
Thank you very much, Changjing, for your very gracious remarks. And you guys are in for a treat. Lihong I've known her for a number of years, and she's not only a remarkable businesswoman, but just a terrific human being. I would love to work for her. She's a great boss. And she's also a very loyal Colombian. So we're in for a treat. Lihong, I think tonight will be so interesting because you've done so many things. You've worked in very large companies. You've looked after very large companies when you're in private equity with Bain. And then you've also been a startup, an entrepreneur, and you've also been on the board of smaller companies. Mm-hmm. And the gamut of companies that you have experienced are very much the kind of choices our students have as they begin to look for jobs after their education at Columbia. So maybe if you can, having been through the spectrum, can you give us an idea from your perspective, the differences, pros and cons of being in very large companies which have the infrastructure and often the support base, and then being in the startup situation?
Yeah, thank you, Lulu. First of all, very, very honored to be here. Happy to come back to the campus. And thank you for the Chasen Institute and your leadership program for inviting me. Lulu mentioned it's a lifelong choice for me. When I was young, basically knowing nothing about the world, I kind of think about following where smart people goes. So back to the early 90s, financial services, of course. Mm-hmm. Also, China was booming. All the companies needs to raise money. For me to work for investment banks, helping companies to raise money was very natural. Then I always feel I want to be closer to the real operation. So switching from investment banker to be a private equity investor definitely is a step closer to what's going on, because you do need to involve more into strategic setting, operational improvement, also human capital. That's how Bain Capital always trying to create value through all these efforts. Then I think for almost 20 years, always wanted to work for the best or the biggest company. Mm-hmm. Follow what I said, the smart people and smart money. However, when I get to close to 50 years old, I start to think about instead of me feel proud of those organizations, I think maybe certain organizations should feel proud of me. So I feel probably I could do something to directly help companies to achieve their goals, be more impactful. That's why I start to think I want to be a CEO. I want to have direct impact on certain companies so that not only provide money, also provide strategic direction, also really nurture a team and build business. Mm-hmm. So that's really how I think about starting from a fresh graduate to someone who already have certain I would say capabilities and new ambitions.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose as you moved yourself across that spectrum, you probably realized that the experience is quite different, because my life has been in investing in public securities. And so I call myself a really armchair investor because especially with Zoom now, I can visit with a lot of companies from my desk in my office. Whereas when you are moving from being a very large company, private equity investor, into the smaller companies and then into the actual operating role of a startup, what was the most difficult transition? What were the surprises? Were there things you thought, oh, gosh, I didn't know it was this complicated, or I didn't realize it was so much fun?
Yes, Lulu, you're exactly right. I think in big organization, you sometimes you don't or you're not aware there's a huge platform. All kinds of people are helping you lift you to a certain level. So after I left Bain Capital, for example, or Morgan Stanley, I've actually appreciated more the institution, the whole so-called the supporting system, and also the people around you that the positive energies they provide. However, at the same time, I also feel in a smaller setting, as a CEO or of a kind of a co-founder of a business, you have more say, or you can make decisions more directly to impact the business and the people. At big company, I would say, if one day, if every day I spend like 13, 14, 15 hours, 1/3 is internal communication. Sometimes because we do business globally, a lot of internal education, which doesn't directly generate, a lot of value. In smaller business, however, every decision you make impact very directly to the business, and then ripple effect affect the kids in my education company, the consumers in the Subway franchise. However, the hard part initially was dealing with people, because in big organization or organization like investment banks or private equity, I would say most of the people are highly motivated. A lot of times you feel they're self-driven. In a company, because different layer, some people may be just there for paycheck, right? And how you inspire them, let them to think a bigger game. Initially, I was not very good at it. I just feel you should, behave like me, work very hard, and we have like big dreams to realize. Later on, I feel it's very different. You do have to connect with them at very different levels, and you have to understand how you set the strategy all the way down to frontline execution, incentive schemes, promotion schemes, all kinds of organizational behavior. I think that's the most difficult part. I think the second thing is from bigger organization to, I would say, on-the-ground operation. In fact, I changed a lot. Just give you example. Sorry to say that I don't feel proud, but when I was at Bain, I always dressed up, right? First class or business class, and later on, maybe, sorry to say that, in the Birkins, right? And then I start to dress down. And for business, I have like school bags. I really, a lot of times I took Subway, for example. I feel you have to have that touch with the front line in order to be with them, truly be with them. I don't think it's difficult. It's just you need to change the mindset. However, to summarize that, in fact, I feel leaving very prestigious organization to a humble business, I actually feel elevated inside. I feel free because I don't need to pretend I'm superior than others. That's the most, I would say, valuable thing I learned in life, maybe. Yeah.
No, but so interesting. You were saying how it's so important to be in touch with the grassroots, the
Yeah,
people who
right.
work with you, actually the people that you offer the service or a product services to. Whereas in a very large company, and there are layers and layers between you and your end product or end service, you lose touch with what the essentials are. I remember a cute story. Hank Paulson, when he was CEO of Goldman Sachs, his wife was a friend of mine, and so I kind of knew that a little bit about the dynamics of their relationship. A very good marriage, but we were at a meeting together, Hank and I, and he was leaving. And usually in Goldman, when you come out of a meeting with the Goldman crowd, there's tons of car services and limousines, and for the CEO, there's a really long limousine. And he started walking toward the subway. I said, Hank, aren't you going to go in one of the cars? He said, Wendy, he says, I should really take the subway because how else am I going to understand how the real world lives? I'm always in my fat cat limousine. I can't have an idea about that. And I thought, this is a smart guy. Because even though he's head of Goldman Sachs, he still wants to be in touch with reality.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think the CEO of a large company or a small company needs to have a really sense of the reality of their business.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and it's interesting you point that out.
Right. Also, because, for example, my Professor Wei mentioned a number of business I'm running. One is education business for kids 3 to 12 years old, learning English in after school. I think about those people, why they want to learn English. Of course, one is they want to change their life. They feel learning English can open doors for them. So those families are willing to let kids spend time and money on your what you offer. You have to be really in touch with them to understand how to make those learning happen, how to make them feel time and money well spent. Then the Subway business, we all know the Subway sandwich target, in fact, working class people, young students, for example, newly graduated from college, just joined the workforce. So for me, I think if I always stay at five-star hotel taking limousines, I wouldn't understand the so-called what value they're trying to get out of it. The funny thing is, sorry to say that, I've never really ate a Subway sandwich before. And now I always go and find out, what's the new things on the menu, whether it's warm enough in the winter time. And the funny thing is, I thought it's cold, but it's actually always warmed up. So all these things, if you don't have a sense, I don't think you can make a sensible decision. The other thing, of course, the Gymboree play and music. The reason I got in last year to rescue, based on my personal experience, because when I returned to China, have my first kid, as a new mom, I really feel I don't know how to raise a kid. And I was very busy. I always feel maybe, the time I spend at work would make me miss something along the way with her growth. So the Gymboree Center in Beijing, that was like 20 years ago. The first center opened in Beijing. And I brought her to Gymboree Center, very impressed by all the environment. And I start to feel, okay, these are the kids, she can try to blend in. And those are the parents, very similar as me. Then you feel you get the support group. That's why, last year when they almost went into bankruptcy, I feel I wanted to, I like the brand. It helped me tremendously. I think people would benefit from that. So I decided to go in and rescue it. Not purely just for money or ambitions. It's really, I wanted the business stay afloat. And I still remember last year, we had a year-end review, and my people at Gymboree put a number there, 654. And she mentioned, basically because the turnaround, we have 654 employees they're still be able to work at Gymboree Play and Music in China. And of course, that means more than 40 direct-owned centers in 9 cities in China. That means like thousands and thousands of family that they can come to Gymboree Play and Music. That really make me feel a sense of, I wouldn't say achievement, a sense of, how to say, a relief that because I did something that, 654 employees, maybe your times 3, a number of families, or maybe 4, and you feel, maybe this is something that I did pretty right.
Right.
The feeling is much, I would say, heavier than a deal I closed at Bain Capital. It's just a little bit remote, the
Yes,
deal I
yes.
closed at Bain Capital. Sometimes I say, so what? I don't know. Still very proud, but it's different feeling.
But you were talking about what drew you to Gymboree to help effect this turnaround because
Yeah.
you cared about it. You thought their mission was important. And when you work in large companies and small companies, do you find that this turnaround process, the problem-solving process, is gains from your reaching into both the lower tiers as well as the mid and upper tiers of the company to find out how people would solve the problem? Because if you do that, do you find that it gives you much more buy-in and also a better sensitivity to what is the real problem?
Right.
Because the CEO may see it very differently from the person at the sales clerk who's actually at the interface with the customer. So can you give us a bit of sense of how exploring problem solving at different levels, and maybe give us some examples how it really helped you to be a better manager?
Yeah, Lulu, this is a very good topic, but I wanted to expand a little bit. I think big organization, the training I had with Morgan Stanley, for example, and Bain Capital really provide me a lot of tools in my toolbox. So really appreciate all the training and on-the-job experience. So when I try to turn around at Bain, it's more like you're a coach at the sports field, right? You tell not tell, you try to align with the senior management of your portfolio company, saying that, with certain assessment, this is something which you should do, or together we should do. For example, during difficult time, I remember one company I invested, I told the CEO, you should have the so-called downside, control the downside risk. At this time, during COVID, I don't think the expansion is the focus. Therefore, in the $400 million RMB you want to put into IT application, I don't think it's reasonable. You should cut in half. So that's how I help portfolio company when I was at Bain. Of course, you need to have a better strategic thinking. You have to convince the senior management team, but you don't have to do the dirty work, for sure. For the small company or the company that use Gymboree Play and Music, for example, not only you have to have that so-called plan, you actually have to execute it all the way to the front line. So each layer, what they need to do at what time and what are the problems may arise, you have to keep a very close eye on every step. The very painful part is always for the turnaround situation, Lulu, you definitely understand, is the so-called the cost cutting, right? Definitely involved in the people that you need to make certain decisions, let people go. Those are very difficult decisions. But in my mind, you have to save the business or save the boat. Therefore, this is a difficult decision that you have to make. I always try to, let people know it's not because you're not good enough. It's because that we have to let the organization become lean enough to survive. And I know a lot of the teachers love this brand. They devoted a lot of their efforts taking care of the kids. However, we cannot keep all the center afloat, and there's a time that you have to say goodbye. But in my mind, I always feel at some point you probably, because the business survived, will have an opportunity to expand, and then we'll welcome you back home. In fact, after Chinese New Year, we start to put the poster saying "Welcome back to Gymboree family." So those very hard decisions that you have to make yourself. And maybe as a woman, I'm not biased about men, but as a woman, the compassion, the ability to connect with people is our strength. Not only at the turnaround situation, even at Bain, I need to manage certain promotions, and also people who cannot be promoted need to leave the organization. I always, in my mind, I always feel the person is the priority. The organizational behavior or the decision is secondary. So whenever I talk to people, even I need to let this person go, I will focus on the impact on this particular person and how I think about he or her career going forward, and anything that I can be helpful, rather than just saying this is a company decision, this is good for the company. So I think I have the track record that even people I let go maintain the good relationship with me, see me as a mentor and sometimes a career advisor. So maybe I diverted a little bit.
That's important.
Yeah, but it's important. So I do think the hands-on, for the companies I manage are very different than the companies that I just gave guidance. But this make me connect more deeply with my team and people.
I think that's so important. It's not wasted time, because I think word gets around that when the leader of a company puts a great premium on the people of the company, and they're not just disposable widgets, I think it adds to the respect that that company gets in the marketplace.
Right.
I think as the leader of a company, when you have to make the painful decisions to let people go, with each conversation, it should always begin with what their contribution has been to the firm.
Right.
An emphasis on the positive.
Yeah.
And then explain that the needs of the firm are such now that we need to part ways for a while.
Right.
But I think if you can have that sort of a positive exit speech, it means so much to the individual. And frankly, I think some of the most heartwarming conversations I've ever had with people in the workplace has been someone who's come up to me and said, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you had to lay me off, but you launched me on a new path, and you told me that it may be all for the better, and to think positively about it. And she said, I did, and I'm really in a great place now, and I always remember your positive exit talk for me. So it really is worthwhile, and it's not manufacturing something to get around and give yourself a PR, because there are surveys showing the best companies to work for, and a lot of companies try to tick off the boxes so they'll rank highly there. But if it's genuine, your people will feel it.
Yeah.
And you will feel it too.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing it.
Also, how to say that? The business always have challenges. That certain decisions you make definitely will impact some other people's life. That's really the institution and the employee. I, as a CEO, I'm also an individual. So I think there's a triangle: institution, myself as a human being and the employee, or sometimes maybe my partner. So I don't think you can just say there's only a boss and an employee. There is a triangle here.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, when you're trying to develop a culture, a set of values within a working entity, it's a little different when you have a company-owned operation, and when you have a franchise operation. It's just one more level apart.
Yeah.
And you've been in both situations. How do you find the two structures? How do you deal with developing the culture and really maximizing the value and the connectedness of the employees to the enterprise when you're working with a franchise situation and a company-owned?
Yeah, that's a very tough issue. I still trying to figure out the best way to run the franchise business. Of course, we have models like McDonald's. Uh, you know, they are very standardized on everything. The product delivering is quick, right? And for Subway, it's very similar. However, for the education business, when we have franchise. Given the very long delivery, it's not a standardized product. It's an education process. So I think that makes the franchise business much more difficult to manage. So I still trying to figure out. In China, there's a saying which is I think I would say describe the bad part of the franchise business, saying the cat and mouse. You know, the brand is the cat, and then the franchisee is the mouse, always chasing them for money, for quality, and then the mouse consistency,
Right.
and sometimes maybe even ethics and moral, right? But I really don't want to think about that way. So one thing is the brand or the franchisor need to have a couple things that you need to do right. One is really build a very strong brand. Then the so-called consistency on the service or the product that you can deliver. If you can manage the supply chain, that's even better. However, for education business, it's really hard. The other thing we are trying very hard to make the relationship more healthy is using digitalization, the information system. Give you example, even in rice education, I do think each student, sorry, first of all, we want to have people who are aligned with the so-called philosophy of the education, meaning this is not just for money. This is really have our kids to nurture them, to develop their capabilities, to realize their full potential. Of course, we give them a good curriculum, help them to learn efficiently. So the education philosophy need to be there. The other thing is
the value set.
the value. Yeah, the value. Then of course is the curriculum. If you can standardize the curriculum, not much dependent on certain individual, then that of course will really help to control the quality. Then the training for the teachers, and during the training process, you also bond with them so that it's not just, they don't feel they are a tool to deliver the curriculum, but they are part of the community to build this education philosophy. Then the other side is so-called we develop the application so students can have what you call use the application to facilitate their learning. And that application is basically a quality control and also a way to directly connect with your end student or end consumer rather than let the franchisees to be the middleman. Therefore, hopefully, using the AI, for example, you can better understand your student more directly and give them more tailor-made recommendations, and also through the so-called the homework or the testing, that you can know how much they've learned, what are the areas they still need to have guidance from the teacher. So all that trying to avoid the so-called the cat and mouse game and involved very directly with your student. Then the franchisee really, what they provide is their facility, their capital, and their ability to hire a team. However, the training is still on the franchisor side. I do think it is a tough situation, but hopefully, we can gradually improve through the so-called the consistency, the digital or AI capability to connect with the student or consumer more directly.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like with either a very large company or with a small company, a leader needs to have really adequate communication of values and operating procedures, but also to get feedback, accurate feedback,
Yeah.
and then be able to benchmark that.
Right.
And do you find that it's very different in a Chinese company versus what you hear is being done in the Western world, and is AI a differentiator there?
I think early in my career, I definitely feel the Western company or more developed market are very care about the consumer engagement, and they have the feedback loop, to get the feedback into the system. And for the Chinese company, I think early on there was a shortage, right? So what we call build to sell. It's more a capacity game, productivity game. Nowadays, of course, in China, already a lot of things are oversupplied. So all the companies also are very care about customer feedback, customer engagement, and the digitalization definitely help the feedback loop become much more efficient. I think the AI tool will enhance that, make the so-called communication with the customers more how to say versatile. In the education business, we used to say there is an impossible triangle, meaning individualized learning, scale, and cost. In the past, if you want to have a scaled business, it's very difficult to give individual attention to students at low cost. If you want to do a one-on-one, it normally has very high cost and it's very difficult to scale. But with AI, I think that the difficult triangle probably would be able to achieve. That's also why I feel very excited about adopting advanced technology,
Right.
of course, with the mind of certain risks. Yeah.
And also, I think AI should be a real tool for you to take the feedback from the employees and work it into and distill the information from that to how you can better motivate them, better give them better results. And so it's a learning tool for them as well as for you as the manager.
Yes, that's right.
Can you give us an example about that?
Yeah. In fact, 3 years ago, I started to build what we call internal learning platform. I think for an organization to be successful, need to be an organization that can promote self-learning or self-improvement. So on that platform, we of course have a so-called a map for employee to grow, right?
Right.
And the map is not one way. In fact, you can detour if you want. So it is kind of an individualized learning platform, give you the opportunity to design your career path. For example, if you're a teacher, you can be a teacher for 5 years, 10 years. Maybe you just wanted to be what we called a new teacher, move into 2-star, move into a 5-star teacher.
Right.
Or you can, after 2-3 years, you want to be a manager, manage the so-called the quality of teaching, manage the new teachers. So there is a path for you to be on the management track. Then on that learning platform, you can choose courses to learn, and then you can apply internally for a different career path. Of course, on that learning platform, we also have a place to share, so that you can share your experience, share what you're thinking, and you can give advice or recommendations directly to your manager or even to me. I also, on this platform, have what we call the reading club, because I do think, for education organization, self motivated learning, part of learning is through reading. So we have that forum as well. I also invite our employees to join me, just like us, the so-called the reading club chat. So all that, because a big we Rice Education already have more than 1,000 direct employees. If you include franchisees, maybe more than 10,000. I cannot really talk to them individually, but through that platform, I can see a lot bubble up from the platform. Also, they can exchange, even they are so far away from each other. So using the digitalized information system, you can push the organization to change.
Oh, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you take the old-fashioned management by objective, which everyone has done, every consultant has recommended.
Yeah.
But if you do management by objective analysis between the employee and the employer, and you plug in the objectives of the company, but the personal experience and aspirations of the individual, and then you can come to short-term and long-term goals, and the bot can really kick out a lot of information that is learned from other people's experiences, and know that this person has a very shared experience with this database, and here's what's been successful in our recommendations to them. It could make it much more interesting.
Yeah.
Are you at that point yet?
I'm trying to move the organization to that direction, because used to be a hierarchy, right? You're on the top, you're a CEO, you kind of give order, and then everyone trying to follow that order and to execute. Of course, we do the so-called balance, the scorecard. However, I think not in the future. In fact, already a lot of organizations already moved to the so-called what's the right word to say? It's like a partner.
Partnership?
It's more like a how to say it?
Collaboration?
Collaboration, a shared objective. It's like the social media today, right? For me, maybe because I'm a professional turned into entrepreneur, I pay much more attention on so-called alignment rather than the so-called hierarchy. Therefore, you have to create the platform. So each, it doesn't mean level. Maybe there are different groups that trying to align your objectives, align your interests. Also, like the sharing help you to grow rather than just taking orders or you
And it also takes from the
takes from the
employee
employees.
their ideas and aspirations.
Exactly. For example, the teachers, right? Of course, you have a lot of trainings, but I think the most useful moment probably is another teacher in a similar situation, how this teacher dealt with and how the teacher engaged with kids or engaged with parents. That sharing, if it's on the platform, it's instant. There's no gap between Beijing and Shanghai, between the 2-star teacher or 5-star teacher. It's just a family of teachers that they feel they learn from each other. They also got, how to say, they got appreciation from
Right.
the group that they,
Absolutely.
similar people, and they feel they were or they are seen by others.
Right. I think AI in the beginning was embraced by the CRM companies because it was obviously a great tool to enhance interface with the customer.
Yeah.
But now I think AI is now at a level where it can also be a huge value internally.
Yeah.
How you can enhance and motivate, monitor, inspire your employees to be the best they can,
Right.
because they know that someone with their experience has tried this and it's worked. Someone with their experience has tried this and has not worked. So it helps them to sort through what aligns with their interests as well as the company's objectives. So
Yeah.
I think it's a very powerful tool that will have a lot of legs. But I realize I'm now eating into the Q&A time for our guests here. And we welcome any questions from the group. Yep, I see one hand there. Hello.
It's the modern way and the technology. Thanks to the technology. First of all, thank you so much for your sharing. Like especially the experience you shared from the corporate to the entrepreneur really speaks to my heart because that's exactly how I experienced. And I think in a big corporate, everything is a given and people have very defined role. So as long as you're very smart, very hardworking, and you know how to handle with the people, you will thrive in a good way. But when you do business as an entrepreneur, you really need to leverage all the connections and the resources. You are not on your own, and you have to convince people to go longer with you as a group. So thank you so much for sharing that, and thanks for the Dr. Wei, Lulu, and Lihong for the great organization for empowering the next generation. So my name is Christy. I'm in the UNBA Global 2026. I just finished my course semester yesterday. A lot to take. So I have 3 questions. The first one is, I know you bring a lot of great branded names to China, including the Subway, Domino's, and I know there must be a lot of culture barriers. So how do you break those barriers, both internally, talking to your employees to adapt the US culture, and also externally, building up the brand image? The second one is I'm currently exploring the possibility to open probably the first Chinese global education school in Saudi. And do you have any insights in this emerging market, especially in the education sector? The third one, if you have time, the education is a really long tail business, right? And if you have some new concept, it really takes time to demonstrate whether it's effective or not. So in that case, when you run the educational franchise, how do you balance the long-term goal and the short-term? And how can you, if you have the challenges, how do you explain to the board members? Thank you.
Do you think I should take all 3?
Give it a try.
Okay. The
We
first
can
thing,
roll it all into one because it could be an organic answer.
I'll try to be brief. The first question is global brand and the China market, right? How do you bridge the gap, right? That remind me a lot of my days at Bain Capital, the late night course, talk about China 101. That's a tough question. I think you need to find the common ground. The reason you try to bring a brand into China because you find certain value, of that brand into that can suitable to Chinese consumers, right? For example, for Domino's or for Subway, the convenience, the food quality control, and the consistency on the menu, all those things I feel is very easy to explain. At the same time, we wanted to provide expanded menu suitable for the China market. On that front, you have to convince the U.S. Franchisor or the U.S. Headquarter. I think what they care is the same thing, whether that will maintain the brand image, then you have the quality control, and whether you have the consumer buy-in. So a lot of detail works you have to do, and then elevate to whatever the senior team or the brand cares. And for Chinese, in the Chinese operation, I do think, how to say it, not, I don't think it's the difficulty to convince. It's really, everywhere is similar. You want to deliver very good service. You want to satisfy the customers. Therefore, you have the process that you want to follow. And then you have to be proud of the brand itself. You have to like the product. You have to believe the product will give customer certain satisfaction, connection. So with all that, I think everything else will come along. In terms of education, I'll ask the third question first. Education is a long process, but I do think you have to understand for parents and also students, the so-called the process to getting to the end game is also very important. So you want to be supportive along the way. And sometimes you can dissect so-called the certain small achievements or results, and then build that up to the long-term effect. For Saudi, I'm actually thinking about expand the Gymboree play and music business there, but not much on the rice education yet. My sense is a lot of new things happening in that world. Even my friends in Hong Kong, in China, they are going to Middle East. I'm sure the education needs will be, will be a lot there. I definitely believe there will be a huge potential.
Any other questions? Someone right in your front?
So my question is about your experience turning around a troubled company, especially your mindset as you are making that decision for yourself, right? Because it is a troubled company. There are risks associated with that. It may fail, it may survive. It's a hard decision, I would imagine. So I'm really curious about the considerations that were at play for you as you were making that career decision for yourself, and any insights that you may be able to impart on us as we may face similar decisions in the future.
Okay. I did turn around two company. One, of course, is rice education. When I got in, I want to expand the business. However, the COVID and also the government regulation really make the situation very, I would say, daunting. So at that particular time, I want to save the company. I just cannot see it die. So that was, I wouldn't say a voluntary choice. It's more responsibility. And I just feel a good leader, a good CEO under that situation, you have to do whatever you can to save the company. So that's number one. The second, of course, is my choice, turning around Gymboree play and music. I think I told the story. I love the brand. I feel it's a very good program. Kids would benefit. The second thing about why I took on is I had the experience. I kind of know the playbook. So I had the confidence that 80% I should be able to do it. When I make those decisions, in fact, I would say you wanted to make it simple. Don't think too much. For example, how about if I fail? How about, this company would not be as valuable as before? Maybe I won't be a hero. Maybe I would look dumb. I don't think those are important things to consider. It's really whether the brand is there, whether the product is still beloved by the customer. What are the things you can do? Then, in terms of what are the things you can do, I would very much, thank for the toolbox I had. So for the toolbox, I had a lot of things there. That's why I did not panic. I didn't even feel very conscious, very anxious, because I know, for example, in those turnaround situations, you look at cash flow, sometimes biweekly, and you need to know how much you have or how much money you're losing. The first thing is to really stop the bleeding. Then stop bleeding, there are only two things you can do, right? Whether you can generate more income or you can cut cost. If you know that, you just focus on these two things. And there's a timeline. You don't have much time left. So you have to pace. Today what you need to do maybe is to form the plan. Then in 1 week, you need to close certain centers. The next week is let certain people go. Then the other thing is make the customers or our parents feel safe that we can continue to deliver that service until a certain time. So just focus on the tasks you need to do. Don't think too much. And of course, the second stage is to make the business turn really more positive. I do think on that front, even the first stage, you need to have a core team that truly believe you, truly have the determination that we will survive whatever way we do. And then the second stage, when you're trying to make the business grow again, you have to give them the confidence that we are a great brand. Whoever survives will thrill. With that confidence, you show on your face, you show in your behavior, engaging with your customers, then the customers will believe in you. Then they will come back, or they will come back, spend more. Then, of course, there's another phase is make the business or economics viable. Then you need to do a little bit more, or maybe a much more. For example, the Gymboree business, or even the Subway business, how to make the unit economy, UE, work. You either sell more product or you make your customer come back more, right? Make the lifetime value longer. So then you have you kind of a couple of factors that impact the lifetime value. Then think about it, whether it's increased ASP. Of course, along that way, you have to offer more, or you have more product, or whatever. Just think about the things you can do. I don't think any other, a lot of noise. That's how I, just be focused, right? Yeah.
I see one here.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Cassie Tian. I'm a recent graduate from the business school. So I have two questions about yourself. So the first one, I'm curious about how you keep growing and evolve as a person. So when you have new opportunities in your corporate job and as your company grows, how do you keep learning so that your opportunities don't outgrow you? My second question is, I know many successful people, they're very good at managing their energy when they're in very stressful environments. So I'm curious if you have any self-care routine, like how do you manage stress? How do you keep yourself energetic?
Yeah. We all start from green. When people ask me, I always say, just don't stop. Sometimes it's not about how fast you run. It's really just don't stop. Because especially for women, you need to consider family, raising kids. Now in my age, I also need to think about, or I need to do a lot to take care of parents. No matter, along the way, whatever happens, just don't stop. But sometimes you can go a little bit faster. Sometimes you should be comfortable that you may have to slow down a little bit. That's one thing. It just with that you feel less anxious about now because it's a marathon. It's you have time as long as you keep going. The second thing is really I'm a person that keep learning. I talk about the reading club, for example. I read a lot. I also talk to people, learning from examples, leaders, mentors. The other thing is just don't set any limit. Meaning, oh, maybe I cannot do that. Maybe it's too difficult. I never think that those are the good place to waste your energy, because you're talking about energy. Just learn as much as you can. The other thing for me is I take on new things. I never feel that I can only do one thing. For example, I started with a organization way, like almost 30 years ago. It was not a government organization. At that time, it's very dangerous thinking about working for non-government organization, but I did, because those group of people, they were educated in the States. They were the pioneer in the financial service market, and I just feel they're good. They're very good. I want to learn from them. Then I actually joined government, joined the China Securities Regulatory Commission. It's like the SEC in the U.S. After a certain time, I feel like I want to, go back to the market where all the activities are. So I joined investment banks. Later on, joined private equity firm, and then decided to be a CEO. So I had a couple of changes in my career, all at almost still peaking. Maybe not peaking. Peaking is the wrong word. It's still on the
Decelerating?
on the growing, accelerating path, but I'm not afraid to take a turn. So that's my experience. For time and energy, I do make how to say, I think it's an option that you need it's a choice. People always talk about the balance. I just feel it's very difficult to balance because you have to focus, right? So at some points, you have to focus on your career. Sometimes, with the kids coming in, I basically sacrifice my so-called friends. I will tell them, sorry, I don't have time for you. But later on, when my kids grow up, I come back to my friends saying, now, let's spend more time. Yeah, so you do. And I still remember when I had my first kid, the, managing director at a firm saying, maybe you should stop. You should, go home and take care of kid. I said, no, I like this job. I will continue. Then when the funny thing is that when I got hired or got approached by Bain Capital, the first thing I told them is I want to have second, kid. And I want to make sure that I'm able to do that, right? And you understand that. And at that time, a Bain partner, on average, they have 3 kids. So I feel that this is the right firm to join. However, I had
It's a lot easier for the man to have 3 kids.
I know. Yes, that's true. So I had 2 kids, still made a partner. But anyway, I do think it's a choice, and also you need to plan along the way. In terms of energy, in fact, I'm a person need 8 hours sleep. So I have to be very efficient. For example, I have to make scheduling well. So even someone very close to me, I have to tell them that, please, I have to put on my calendar for you for the time that we spend together, and I hope we don't overspend. This is a little bit cruel, but when
Do you tell your husband that too? In a nicer way.
in a nicer way.
You have to manage the home situation.
Oh, I think that's a very good point. But I learned from my boss, actually. He's a very senior partner at Bain. I found out he always takes call from his wife,
Good.
regardless
Man.
whatever happening. So I always take calls from my husband. But my husband, we were classmates at business school, so he fully understands my scheduling. So he rarely called me during the daytime, but we managed to call each other every day, wherever we are, till today, 30 years, 25, 26 years today, even just say hi. So those are the places you want to definitely make sure you have the energy. But of course, we don't talk very long if we're very busy. So it's a priority. I don't think it's easy to balance. It is a priority that you have to make a choice, make a decision on.
But just making sure that your husband or your children or your friends know that they are priorities. And sometimes you can't always fulfill that priority with them.
Right.
But the fact that they know it
Yeah.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
And then when you do have that time to free up and be with them, they really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So.
The thing is, I do think you need a very big support group as a woman with career. So my support group, including my in-laws, for example,
Yes.
including my girlfriends, and including my boss as my mentor, and understand my family situation, including my husband, who are very supportive. For the friends, as Lulu mentioned, we keep updating where we are, saying, a funny thing is a lot of my friends actually, they all have kids, but they continue to thrive in their career. So we have a lot to share, a lot to be sometimes spiritually, mentally, supportive, rather than just spend time together. You're right. That's also why we can, after 20 years raising kids, we can come back and continue to be friends.
And also, if you're working with really a close group of friends, and they're all busy, I do find Zoom is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have time for one-on-one gatherings and catch-ups with your friends, you have a circle, and your secretaries can organize this so that once a month, once every other month, you have a Zoom.
Yeah.
And whether you have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, you catch up and just see each other, staying in touch, showing that you care, solving each other's problems in a trusted group. It can be very meaningful.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
Zooms will never replace in person, but it's a pretty good placeholder.
Yeah, exactly. I want to mention my friend, Christina Zhu. I think she was here with you a couple months ago. We are very good friends.
She joined the board not too long ago.
Yes, yes. I recommended her, so I'm very happy.
The Wang conference.
I think 5, 6 years ago, we had this transition at the same time. She moved to Walmart China to be the CEO, and then I moved to Rice Education to be the CEO. Both our business got impacted heavily by the COVID, because it's all offline business. So we don't always talk to each other, but at that moment, we decided to have regular catch up on Zoom. Exactly as you mentioned. So every 2 months, we got on Zoom, talk about the business, talk about how we feel, talk about Columbia Business School. I convinced her to be more involved. It is a very good way to have the so-called the friendship in very different way. In Hong Kong, we also have an organization we call the High Heel. You can tell it's a woman organization. It's all senior people from financial services companies, people from private equity like Carlyle, Bain. We have people from Goldman, Morgan Stanley, and other mutual fund investment firms. So this organization, we don't really have a lot of time, but each year we have maybe 2 gatherings, one mid of the year, the other the end of the year. During the end of the year, we always have a big gathering, spend like 3-5 minutes to talk about, what your key takeaways from last year and the so-called what are the things you are looking forward for the next year. That group of people really supported each other and also shared a lot of life and work experience together.
Right.
Those are the things that I definitely continue to do. And the
That's-
book club. Yeah, I run one book club in my organization. I also run another book club in Hong Kong with a group of very senior people. That group of people, although in financial services, very much care about politics, political issues, economic issues. So it's very fulfilling for me.
So it just shows that even though you're staying in touch in the aggregate, it can be a very good substitution for in-person one-on-ones when you have time.
Right.
But I want to get back before we close to the question about how do you keep your energy? Because this is something that we all care about. And all of us at Columbia, wherever we go in our careers, we will be exceptional because we have the energy and the love of the work. Because it's not just the making the salaries, but also really loving your work and being very good at it. And I think the most important thing about staying fresh and staying energized, something that your boss will know as well as you will know, is to stay curious. I think the worst thing is to feel ho-hum about your job. Oh, I've done that. Yes, I'll do it again. And over time, you become more and more standardized and no longer achieving excellence. But if you wake up in the morning and you're curious, and you say, okay, this is what I've been doing for a while. What else? How can I do this better? Or what can I do within my experience module to make the company better? Keep asking yourself the question, because that will energize you. It will also make it much easier for your colleagues to see that you are a leadership person in new ideas and innovation. Because innovation comes from curiosity, and with innovation, you absolutely will get growth, personally as well as the company.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also use the AI as an analogy. We all know 3 major components for AI to happen. One is data. I think keep learning, keep ask questions, keep absorbing data. That's one critical element. The second is, of course, algorithm. It's more like the framework, the methodology, and that you need to keep updating the way of thinking. I see certain people that they don't change. They don't really upgrade their way of thinking. That means their algorithm becomes stalled. The third thing, of course, is the power, the calculation power. I think for people, meaning your energy level, even your health, right? If you're now healthy, you will now be able to have that power. So all 3 are important. As long as you keep enhancing all 3 of these elements, you of course become
You'll be a happier person and a more productive.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll keep ahead of the robots.
Exactly.
Because the bots are only as good as the data they're fed.
Right.
And if you keep asking questions and you have more and more data in your brain, you're always going to be ahead of the robots. I see one more hand. I know we're running into our cocktail time, but as long as the Q&A is so dynamic, let's keep it going.
Today seems this is ladies' session, right?
Oh, no, we have a lot of gentlemen in the
my
crowd.
question
I know,
is
but all the
they oriented as well.
right.
So what I see from your resume, you have had a wide variety of experiences, right? You worked for the regulators, you were at the Bain, you were at PVC, and now you are a CEO. So the first question is, how does all your past experiences relate to your current adventure? So whether they add up, they all contribute to your current success. So that's one question. Another question is, well, many people say you need to focus become specialized in particular area, be really, really good at it, rather than having a wide variety of experiences. It's more of a specialization versus diversification. So what's your take on this? Thank you.
I think all the past experience are helpful for my what I'm doing today. It's accumulation. You build the step function, right? All these, as I mentioned, the toolbox, for example. For investment banking, I got a lot of knowledge about financial markets, capital raising, mergers and acquisitions, also deal with people. For private equity, at Bain particularly, we do controlled transaction, a leverage buyout. So you have to understand the business, understand the so-called strategy. You have to build the team. You also need to know how to improve the operations. All that actually is a foundation to be a CEO. So I don't think I'm kind of turning 100 degrees. Is that 90 to 100 degree? It's really keep going and build up the capabilities. In terms of specialization and so-called the whether it's people saying it's a T, right? Whether you drill deeper or become a pie, meaning you actually have how to say multiple. What's the way to describe? You have much broader capabilities or broader areas that you wanted to explore. I think they're both are fine. However, I could be wrong, but however, I think for the AI, with AI, I think you need to have a broader knowledge to make the right judgment. You also need certain depths for specification. Even at Bain, we started as generalists, meaning we cover different industries. And then later on, it actually all specialized, meaning you cover certain industry to get the depths of the sector. You look at what I'm doing now, consumer, retail, education. In fact, these are very similar business. It's all consumer driven, and it's all you need to understand the product. You need to understand the unit economics or store economics, and you need to understand the consumer sentiment. A lot are very similar. Also similar in terms of managing brand. These are consumer brands. So I'm not doing all different things. It's synergetic, and then you want it to be synergetic so that you can be more specialized. I don't know whether I answer your question. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. It's always important to be an expert in a field, but robots can do that far better than we can. And the deeper you go, the deeper they can go, and they'll always be deeper than us. But the robot cannot always make the connections from very disparate sources. And so you can be looking at different consumer-facing products, Gymboree and Domino's, and you can understand them really well.
Right.
But at the same time, you're also learning about human experience,
Right.
human desires, humans' aspirations.
Yeah,
These are things
exactly.
that are soft knowledge. And then you can put it that way, and it can make you a better product manager in each of the product areas.
Yeah.
But the bot cannot do that as easily. So it's important that's why I'm a great proponent of a liberal arts education before business school. Because liberal arts, it teaches you to look at history, learn from what has been done in the past, and take that learning to become even better in the future. And it's an extrapolation of past knowledge into future acumen that's really important. And the bots are going to be behind us in all of that. So that's how you differentiate between that and AI. Good.
Yeah, I also feel I try to be holistic as a person, also holistic on my business. Of course, you need to have a certain special capabilities, but on the other hand, you also need to be aware that if you have broader awareness, I think you can connect with people much better. So I don't know. I think in the future, maybe you need pie, rather than just tea. Machine can help on.
Consumer business could be very tough because in China it's just so competitive, right? And all the adventures you carry on, like the food industry, the education, and also the kids, the Gymboree, right? We all love it. I mean, there must be lots of competitions in China, right? In America, they are more like a oligopoly, monopoly, but in China, it must be hard for you to do. It's just amazing to me.
I think that's why I feel interesting. Yeah, and the other thing is also focus. Just focus on deliver better and better service or products, rather than always look what other people are doing. Yeah,
So the business has been doing well. Yeah.
luckily.
I'm so sorry we've eaten into your cocktail time, but we didn't. I thought if we keep the Q&A going, at least everyone can share the Q&A. Whereas we go into cocktails, only one person at a time can speak to Lihong.
Right.
Is there anyone with a compelling question before we go into cocktails? Oh, there, please. You're the last one, then we promise to free you up.
The question I have is looking at your bio and your career experience is almost a successful template and a success formula for MBA students who have a education from one of the top Chinese universities and then from the top MBA programs in the US. But the world we are seeing now is very different from what the world used to be. So I think as China develops, it values local expertise more and more. And then I would, so the question I have is like, what do you think it's a better choice for MBA students like us who are sitting in our seat right now and then seeing this new world, if we want to take advantage of our international experience and then develop our career either in the US and China, what's your advice for us?
That's a tough one. When you say my resume or like a template, I'm not sure about that. I think along the way, we all face failures, very difficult situations, or sometimes even very confused about where to go, what to do, what kind of a person you will become. So never just think other people's are easy. They have an easy life or template. It's really hard for me to give you advice because we are in different situation. I think I am the lucky one, meaning in the last 30 years, China is kind of all the way up, right, until recently. So that opened up a lot of opportunity. Also, I joined the financial services, whether it's investment banking or private equity. It's kind of there's no people ahead of me. Therefore, it gave me a lot of opportunity to how to say to be outstanding. Today, I agree with you. The situation is very different. So I don't think I can give you very good advice, but it's really you have to know what you wanted to be and take on and also bear the consequence, right? It could be very difficult. It could be, you will not be able to make a lot of money, or you need to, spend much longer time to get to a certain level. Yeah, I don't think business school is a guarantee. It's just a starting point.
But I think to end this on a positive note, I think there's no way you're going to fail if you follow your passion. So you have to find something you're passionate about. And then you have to be curious. You've got to be curious because by staying curious, you keep innovating and adding value to what you bring to the table. And whether it's a not-for-profit or for-profit organization, by being curious and always stretching for excellence, you will find success.
Yeah, and I do want to add a point. The reason I choose education after private equity is I truly believe that education changed people's life. And I also feel the education system in China has problems. I see so many young people with great grades, but they don't think that much.
Yep.
They are not curious enough. That's why whether you are here or you're outside business school, keep your curiosity, ask questions. Don't be too purposed. For example, only because I can get this, therefore I do that. I just don't think life is not that.
Some blue
right?
sky.
Exactly.
The sky's the limit if you keep the skies blue.
Yeah.
And there's no limit to what you can do. So speaking of blue, we have, I'm sorry we run over on the Q&A, but I think it's been worthwhile to be able to share our questions rather than having one-on-ones over a drink. But so Lihong, we really want to thank you for coming and being with
Sure,
us.
my
and
honor.
you get the blue bag.
Oh, thank you very much. Blue is my favorite color. Thank you.